Hello, my dear children. In the last class, we discussed about the physiographic divisions of India and learned about the Himalayas and the northern plains. In this session, we are going to learn about the Peninsula Plateau, how it was formed, its divisions, Central Highlands and Deccan Plateau, the Western Ghats and the Eastern Ghats, distinct features of the Peninsula Plateau, the Indian desert, the coastal plains, and about the islands. Okay, let us learn about the Peninsula Plateau. The Peninsula Plateau is a table land composed of the old crystalline, igneous and metamorphic rocks. In the last class, we have already learned about the different types of rocks, how they are formed. It was formed due to the breaking and drifting of the Gondwana land. So Peninsula Plateau was formed due to the breaking and drifting of the Gondwana land, thus making it a part of the oldest landmass. The plateau has broad and shallow valleys and rounded hills. This plateau consists of two broad divisions, that is, the Central Highlands and the Deccan Plateau. What are the two broad divisions of plateau? They are Central Highlands and the Deccan Plateau. You can locate it on a map for the easy understanding of it. The part of the Peninsula Plateau lying to the north of the Narmada River, covering a major area of the Malwa Plateau, is known as the Central Highlands. The part of the Peninsula Plateau lying to the north of the Narmada River, covering a major area of the Malwa Plateau, is known as the Central Highlands. So locate it on a map and understand it clearly. The Vindhyan Range is bounded by the Central Highlands on the south and the Aravallis on the northwest. The further westward extension gradually merges with the sandy and rocky desert of Rajasthan. The eastward extensions of this plateau are locally known as the Bundelkhand and Baghelkhand. The Chota Nagpur Plateau marks the further eastward extension, drained by Damodar River. What is the meaning of drained? Drained means leaving it empty or dry. Chota Nagpur Plateau is formed of the igneous rocks. Igneous rocks are formed as a result of the volcano. These igneous rocks contain large amounts of minerals. Therefore, this plateau is known as the storehouse of minerals. So, what is the peculiar feature of Peninsula Plateau? They are rich in minerals. The Chota Nagpur Plateau is formed of the igneous rocks. These igneous rocks contain large amount of minerals. Therefore, this plateau is known as the storehouse of minerals. Now we will discuss about the Deccan Plateau. We already mentioned that the two divisions of Peninsula Plateau, it includes the Central Highlands and the Deccan Plateau. The Deccan Plateau is a triangular landmass that lies to the south of the river Narmada. The Satpura range flanks its broad base. Flank means the side. Satpura range flanks its broad base in the north, while the Mahadev, the Kaimur Hills and the Michael range form its eastern extensions. The Deccan Plateau is higher in the west and slopes gently eastwards. Three prominent hill ranges from the west to east are the Garo, the Khasi and the Jaintia Hills. So the Deccan Plateau is a triangular landmass that lies to the south of the river Narmada. and the Satpura range flanks its broad base in the north, while the Mahadev, the Kaimur Hills, and the Michael range form its eastern extensions. And the prominent hill ranges include Garo, the Khasi, and the Jindaya Hills. Okay, let us clearly understand the differences between the Western Ghats and the Eastern Ghats. Regarding the location, the Western Ghats form almost an unbroken western edge of the Deccan Plateau, and they run nearly parallel to the western coast. Eastern Ghats form the eastern edge of the Deccan Plateau, and they also run parallel to the eastern coast, but they are highly broken, irregular, and discontinuous and dissected by rivers draining into the Bay of Bengal. Regarding the extension, the Western Ghats run north-south along the Arabian Sea coast from South Gujarat to Kerala. The Eastern Ghats run from the Mahanadi Valley in Odisha to the Nilgiris in the south, that is in Tamil Nadu. The average elevation of the Western Ghats is 900 to 1600 meters, whereas the average elevation of the Eastern Ghats is 600 meters. Now regarding the subdivisions, the Western Ghats comprise the Sahyadri, the Nilgiris, the Anamalai, and the Cardamom Hills. And for the Eastern Ghats, a series of low hills such as Mahendragiri, Nallamalai, Javedi, and the Chevroy Hills can be seen. Now look at the distinct features of the Peninsular Plateau. One of the distinct features of the Peninsular Plateau is the black soil. That is, it is of volcanic origin and hence the rocks are igneous. These rocks have denuded over time and are responsible for the formation of black soil. Major metallic minerals are found in the plateau. For example, Karnataka has large reserves of iron ore. Manganese is found in Odisha. Other minerals like tin, copper, zinc, lead, etc. are also found. Therefore, Peninsular Plateau of India is known as storehouse of minerals. Hills lie on the western and northwestern margins of the Peninsular Plateau. They are highly eroded hills and are found as broken hills. They extend from Gujarat to Delhi in a southwest-northeast direction. Hope you have understood about the distinct features of the Peninsular Plateau. They are rich in minerals. Let us learn more about the Western Ghats and the Eastern Ghats. The Western Ghats and the Eastern Ghats mark the western and eastern edges of the Deccan Plateau. Western Ghats lie parallel to the western coast and they are continuous and can be crossed through passes only. Western Ghats run north-south along the Arabian Sea coast. Eastern Ghats also run nearly parallel to the eastern coast, but they are highly broken, irregular, and discontinuous. Okay, now let us learn about the Indian desert. The Indian desert lies towards the western margins of the Aravalli Hills in the western part of Rajasthan. It is an undulating sandy plain covered with sand dunes. This region receives very low rainfall below 150 mm per year. It has an arid climate with low vegetation cover. Streams appear during the rainy season. Soon after, they disappear into the sand as they do not have enough water to reach the sea. Luni is the only large river in this region and Samba Lake is important for salt making. Bachans, the crescent-shaped dunes cover large areas, but longitudinal dunes become more prominent near the Indo-Pakistan boundary. Due to hot and dry climate, it has no vegetation cover or it has very low vegetation. That is, largely scrubs like bushes, cactus, small scattered trees alone can be seen in the Indian desert. Okay, now let us learn about the coastal plains. Plateau is flanked by a stretch of narrow coastal strips running along the Arabian Sea on the west and the Bay of Bengal on the east. The coastal strips that flank the Peninsula Plateau are Eastern Coastal Strip and Western Coastal Strip. Eastern Coastal Strip lies between the Eastern Ghats and the Bay of Bengal. It is a broader plain. The northern part is referred to as Northern Sikar, while the southern part is known as the Coromandel Coast. Large rivers such as the Mahanadi, the Godavari, the Krishna, and the Kaveri have formed extensive delta on this coast. Lake Chilika is an important feature along the eastern coast. So, it's a must that you have to locate all these on a map and have a clear understanding of what we have discussed. Western coastal strip lies between Western Ghats and the Arabian Sea. It is comparatively narrower than the Eastern coastal strip, and it consists of 3 sections. So the Western coastal strip can be learned considering the 3 sections. The northern part of the coast is called Konkan or the Mumbai-Goa coast. The central stretch is called the Kannauj Plain, while the southern stretch is referred to as the Malabar coast. The rivers flowing in this region are short and fast running. The major west and flowing rivers are the Narmada and the Tapi. Okay, now let us learn about the islands. India has a vast mainland. The country has 2 types of island. Lakshadweep Islands group lying close to the Malabar coast of Kerala. Earlier, they were known as Lakshadweep, Menikoy and Amandeep. In 1973, these were named as Lakshadweep. It covers small area of 32 square kilometers. Kavarati Island is administrative headquarters of Lakshadweep. This island group has great diversity of flora and fauna. That is, different types of birds, animals and plants can be seen in this island group. The Andaman and Nicobar Island, they are the elongated chain of islands located in the Bay of Bengal, extending from north to south. They are bigger in size and are more numerous and scattered. The entire group of islands is divided into 2 broad categories: the Andaman in the north and the Nicobar in the south. It is believed that these islands are an elevated portion of submarine mountains. These island groups are of great strategic importance for the country. There is great diversity of flora and fauna in the Andaman and Nicobar Islands also. These islands lie close to the equator and experience equatorial climate and has thick forest cover. Port Blair is the capital of these islands. Okay. Different physiographic regions in India are complementary to each other. Let us have a closer understanding of it. The northern mountains are the storehouse of water and a major source of forest health. They give rise to perennial rivers which provide ample water for irrigation in the plains. The northern plains have well-watered fertile soils for growing crops and are the granaries for the whole country. The Peninsula Plateau is the storehouse of minerals, so it is a base of manufacturing industries. The coastal region and island groups provide sites for fishing and port activities. The island groups have a unique diversity in flora and fauna. The diverse physical features of the land have immense future possibilities of development. None of these regions can exist without the other. Therefore, there is a geographical unity between these different regions. So it is very clear that the physiographic regions in India are complementary to each other. Northern mountains are the storehouse of water and a major source of forest wealth. Then it gives rise to perennial rivers and provide ample water for irrigation in the plains. This Peninsula Plateau is the storehouse of minerals. The coastal region and island groups provide the sites for fishing and port activities. So none of these regions can exist without the other, and therefore there is a geographical unity between these different regions. Okay, now let us discuss about corals. Coral polyps are short-lived, microscopic organisms which live in colonies. They flourish in shallow, mud-free and warm waters in the tropical seas. Their skeleton is made up of calcium carbonate extracted from seawater in which polyps live. When coral polyps die, their hard rock-like skeletons are left behind. The deposition of skeletons on the seabed forms coral deposits in the form of reefs and atolls. The coral deposits can be seen in the Lakshadweep Islands, the Great Barrier Reef that can be seen in Australia, and many islands in the Indian Ocean. So what are these corals? Coral polyps are short-lived microscopic organisms and they live in colonies. And where do they flourish? Where do they originate? They flourish in shallow, mud-free and warm waters in the tropical seas. The skeleton is made up of calcium carbonate and that is extracted from seawater in which polyps live. And when they die, their hard rock-like skeletons are left behind, and the deposition of skeletons on the seabed forms coral deposits in the form of reefs and atolls. Okay, now let us recap what we have learned in this session. We have learned about the Peninsula Plateau and its major divisions into Central Highlands and the Deccan Plateau. Then regarding the Western Ghats and the Eastern Ghats, and about the Indian desert and the coastal plains, and how these physiographic regions in India are complementary to each other. So with the help of a map, please understand each and every physiographic features of India and try to locate them on the map. Hope you have understood. Meet you in the next session. Thank you.